Hello, welcome back to another of my monologues. My friend John Cook at Dora's Dairy at Purton in Wiltshire, near Swindon, has got too much milk. I've just seen a video of his on Facebook, and apparently it's too much milk. He's having to tip it away, not because it's contaminated, not because it's bad, not because it's being shut down or anything like that. It's just one of those things that happens from time to time, that a farmer might have very healthy cows, the grass is lush, and they're producing too much of something which is has a very limited shelf life. And I saw this thought, and he said, you know, basically, if anybody out there needs some milk or wants to try milk, raw milk, never done it, or wants to make butter, he has a surplus. And this is fantastic. This is great to see that people actually got a surplus rather than having limited numbers, a dearth of something. And we've seen, again, situations, of course, in the winter when the grass is not as long, it's not as luscious, and the cows are eating or feeding their calves and this, that and the other. And then there's a shortage, and nobody likes a shortage, do they? And this made me think, actually, in terms of what I wanted to talk about in today's video, is it's interesting, isn't it? If we this is the importance of having lots of farmers, lots of small scale farmers rather than great big farmers with swathes of monoculture all over the place, growing one or two commodities which people can't eat from the farm gate, that has to go off and be processed and then sold to the dreaded supermarket. It's the importance of the small farms that surround the towns and villages, because you can imagine if one farmer such as John has a huge supply of milk that he's having to throw away, feeding to pigs or whatever, and there's this wonderful healthy raw milk that is available, but it just hasn't got quite enough customers at the moment to get rid of it, and so he has to pour it literally down the drain. Then you'd think if there were other farmsteads, smaller farms, people who perhaps are making butter or cheese or ice cream could say, actually, do you know what? If you've got a big supply of it, I'll have some of it, thanks very much. I can take that off your hands. And smaller places would be able to do that. They could turn up with big, large containers. They wouldn't need a big lorry or anything. They could take, you know, a number of these containers in the back of a van and go off and make butter and make cheese and make ice cream. If they're already geared up to doing it, and they can go, well, here's an opportunity, we can do a deal with the farmer and away we go, and we can be a food producer who takes advantage of it. Not so easy with something that has a very limited shelf life, so you need to be set up to do that. And that's where I think one of the things that we desperately need, I think, in the future now, is more farmers who are producing more food, and more small food producers who can take the raw product, like raw milk, and say, well, actually, we're already doing cheese. We've always wanted to muck about with ice cream and see if there's a market there, or experiment. We'll take some of that, do a deal, and away you go, rather than seeing this food being wasted. And I think that's the sort of thing that Julia and I would love to be in a position to have been able to do, and say, well, we'll take it off your hands. The big processors, of course, they're not interested in a few, whatever it is, I don't know whether it's hundreds of gallons or what it is, but just the small amounts of waste. To them, waste is on a much, much larger scale, so they're not interested. And so big food producers who make butter, you know, in these massive industrial units, they're not going to be interested. But smaller producers, of course, this is why it is important to try and get these smaller companies up and running, these family-run businesses, these single sole traders, if you like, to artisans, more and more of those. And of course, the more we have, the bigger the choice. And then there's a bit of competition, of course. Not saying that we need to try and trash the money and trash the food and try and make it down to the lowest common denominator. We have that already with food that is so missing its nutrients and vitamins and things. But we want a huger choice, so that people don't have to go to the fast food outlets and just have standardized, homogenized, whatever, hamburgers or naff food, but actually something of quality. And of course, remember, food is medicine. You are what you eat. So the more that you eat healthily, the better you're going to be. All the time that we put into our stomachs, into our body, food that is containing, I mean, I don't need to tell you this, that food that's containing all the sort of different additives that they put in, emulsifiers and all these different nasty things, the preservatives, the food colouring and so on, and things that they're just to make the food look sexy, as it were, on the shelf in a supermarket. The more that we can get back to a natural food that's closer to its original source, rather than the big processing, the better and healthier that we'll be. And of course that reflects in everything that we do, because we have to eat. And if we eat well, our well-being is then, it comes out in our personality, doesn't it? We'll think sharper, we'll have better ideas, we'll be brighter, we'll be able to face the day and some of the tyrannical policies that government shoves out that we have to meet, then we can, of course, meet those bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and say, actually, you know what, I've got some interesting logic against your stuff. Anyway, you know what I mean, So anyway, I just wanted to say in today's video that if you're in Swindon, if you're in Wiltshire and you want to try a bit of raw milk, go and check out Dora's Dairy. They're great friends of ours. We've actually been there. You may remember, we've made some videos of this, and milked their cows, and what fantastic cows they are, and beautifully looked after. And we were down there not so long ago, actually, a week or so ago, and milking the cows, and the grass is lush, and everything looks absolutely superb. And it's really nice to see healthy farms growing, and we need to see more of that, particularly at the moment where farms are being put under a lot of stress from government with a lot of taxes and various other measures, DEFRA pushing them to go in certain directions that we know are not really healthy for all of us. I mean, where is it healthy not to grow food, for one thing? But they do seem to be pushing farmers to diversify to the nth degree, in which they're not actually growing healthy food. And that's what we need. Of course, we need the soil regeneration. And there's a lot of people talking about this soil regeneration. I'm very positive, actually, about the future. I think that because there's a lot of people talking about all aspects of farming, we're going to see a new type of farming. In fact, probably a reflection of what happened many, many years ago. So many people do want to get onto the land. So many people do want to access good food, and I think that there is going to be a marriage between people who want to eat healthily and they've realised that actually the convenience foods are not as good, and that setting up around them is a network of homesteaders, small farms, growing stuff that is a lot more edible. And we need to support those people so that in those times where somebody's got too much, they can take it and produce it into some healthy food. And those that haven't got enough can also be helped and supported by a growing community. Food is a number one substance that we need, and we take it for granted that there'll always be food because we've been led down this strange path to think that food grows in supermarkets on shelves that are lit by fluorescent tubes. That, by the way, is not true. That doesn't happen. Food is a much simpler, much more organic and much healthier product if it's grown by smaller artisan farmers and food producers. So anyway, that's my message today. I hope it's been of some interest and some use. It probably isn't, but one has to keep trying. Until next time, thank you for watching. Take care, and a big thank you to those people who've been supporting the channel and keeping it going. I really appreciate it. We couldn't do it, really. This is a two-way thing. You help me, and I hopefully bring you some interesting thoughts. Until next time, bye-bye.